Welcome to a new episode of Signal Chain Stories, a podcast for musicians, artists, and creators. My name is Kvndra, and I'm co-hosting the podcast with the wonderful Mordio. In this podcast, we'll be discussing the joy, the fun, but also the roadblocks and frustrations of the life as an artist. And before we start, maybe we need to mention in this episode, we have been running the recording actually for 1.5 hours, talking about roadblocks and frustrations to fix some tech issues we had with audio, with video, with everything. But now we are live. So, Florian, my friend, how are you?
Great, man. I'm having a new studio, so I'm like in my new room and I'm loving it. Everything is new and nice, so you know how this feels. Environment, really important.
Absolutely. When you get creative, I think that's one of the most important parts. And you also told me you're getting back into modular
hardware. Yeah, absolutely. Building a little bit here, my racks, and try to have like a second corner kind of where I just have no screens and record the jams in full into Ableton and not too much, just some dynamics. So you jam 100% again. I miss it a little bit, and I want to make totally for my ambient projects. I want to do a little bit more, I think, without the screens, because techno can be so like grid music where Ableton is perfect for it, you know. But if you just want to like textures they are not synced, I have to go back to modular.
Yeah, I feel that also, like sometimes getting away from the screen and then just working with the stuff that you have, just getting a little bit creative, actually with some real things in your hand is so much better than sitting in front of a computer, which a lot of us are actually doing all day long. So I can totally understand.
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah, totally. With YouTube, plus making your own music in the box, you're 24/7 in front of this thing. So that's why I love the environment is new and nice. So it's like, finally, the spot I'm taking so much time on is actually beautiful now. But it is it is nice to come back from the screen and just make music that you love, but without the screens. I mean, the only screen that I allow is like the Digitag there, because I was thinking I need a sampler to make nice textures that I bring a little bit from my personal recordings, like my life, into this device, and that goes through a modular chain. That's the idea.
Oh, nice. So basically going a little bit also in the ambient direction?
Absolutely.
Nice.
Yes.
I love that. And that also actually brings us to a little bit the topic of this call, because I already told you that I was thinking the last couple of weeks a little bit about one specific topic, and that is if you're an artist and you want to make different genres, like for example in your case, I know you make hypnotic techno and then also ambient music, how do you ensure that kind of like your sound character that you have defined as an artist stays consistent even if you make different genres? Because I have also the issue that I make mostly melodic house, but now I want to also explore some other genres, like also ambient, which I've also been doing in the past a little bit, but now also a little bit more in the heavier techno direction, like some hypnotic stuff, maybe also, or not maybe, but definitely a little bit faster. So the continuous thought in my head was, how can I ensure that everything is kind of like consistent and people will still recognize it's 100% me, and I will still recognize it's 100% me. And it's something I've been thinking about a lot, and just wanted to hear, when you do hypnotic techno but also ambient, how do you approach this?
I think if you do ambient, it is 100% you, because you did it. That's the simple answer. So for overthinking, like just stop it. But
that's true.
Yeah, but the thing is, what will make the sound particular people say, "Oh, that sounds so like you"? That is, I think, what makes you obsessed with sound in general, right? Like when I learned about dubstep music in the past, and I hear the sound there, they was playing with like overtones in the bass that sounded like it was one element, but it's actually layers of like a sub movement and then like a, but you just think like, whoa, because of the power of the bass, but also this overtone and the reverb on the overtone then sounding so futuristic. I was like, wow, I'm obsessed with this hyper realistic HD sound design. And now I just went to techno because I love this rhythmical, tribal feeling that you have when you dance to rhythmic music. And techno is the most rhythmic music that I know. It is so loopy, so you really have to kind of do something with this genre to make it wow. Because it's actually faster boring than other things, right? Because you don't have change so much. You have to, like, you make it off and you make it on. So in this case, it's all about the modulation and sound design. And then like I'm obsessed with hypnotic sound design, what is like just fresh for me. But as a dubstep head, that was just logical, right? From if you think about what makes the sound, my sound is actually, if I do ambient now, I checking really clear for things that I particularly like in ambient tracks and then put them all together. And that will make always your stuff unique. It's based on nature, kind of. What you like is not 100% what the other person like, even if you both say, we like this. So from the philosophy, kind of, it's naturally happening. You just have to trust on it. But to have that in mind is a good thing also. And in my case now, with going from techno to ambient, I feel like I want the opposite of what I'm doing to getting my balance from creative output. Because sometimes I felt I sit in front of the computer and I'm like, I want to make music. I have free time. I want to make music and maybe only record it on OBS, but like really making music, though making a tutorial. Also, that is my balance for me as an artist. So I want to make music now. And then I feel like I have to make techno, but I feel completely warm and like emotional or something. And I don't feel the techno right now. So I want the opposite. And what I found for me in my ambient is actually the bass have to be an atmosphere that gives me a feeling. So I have recordings that are mostly more than 10 minutes, like long atmospheres, because I want to make the tracks 10 minutes or something. So like the full track, so it's never a looping. And it's just an atmosphere of silent things, like a city noise just in the background, or just that you have this like ground noise, the bass of the track. And then I try to emulate, because there's so much emotion when you hear like a summer night, you know, you hear the night grills like, and you know you are in a night. So instantly your brain gives you this like, and then you're starting to put layers and stuff, and you really like noisy sounds in techno maybe, but then you do the opposite or something. So for me, I really have like low end that is just like, just giving you this like kind of breathing of nature, and then having just textures coming together and looping, and it's more like an atmosphere that I want to do. I don't even have like really arrangement or vocal samples or something. I really want to have like just atmospheres of vibes.
Yeah,
they have to be all healing and calming. Like the opposite what I do with my techno. My techno is like a hot fever dream, and I love when people are like, what the fuck is the sound? Ugh. So I'm like, okay, harmony.
Yeah, no, I can totally understand that. And I think the point that you made with feelings and kind of like putting emotions into it is just so important. And it reminded me of when I did a lot of melodic house, and I still feel and love it. But you're right, sometimes, especially when you try to produce it down and really get to the mixing and to the final arrangement part, it can get a little bit...
You have to feel it.
Yeah, like work. Yeah, it's like, as you said with your techno, it's like really you dive deep into Ableton, you do all this stuff there. Whereas with ambient, I try to just let it flow. So for example, when I did my track Dune, beginning of this year, I was really unsure if I should release it because it was so different than the usual approach that I was taking. It was very much out of the door. And I was just recording basically my sub 25, running through one effect, and then just basically going by emotions.
Yeah.
Yeah. And this was like by far one of my most successful releases. So I think that is a very important point. But for some reason, and I know that's sometimes stupid, but it's just the way how it is, I tend to struggle with that. And even though I know as an artist you should not really take so much care about kind of like what the audience or what other people think. It's still somewhere in the back of your head where it's said, okay, people are maybe the same as for you when you say, okay, people are expecting me to make hypnotic techno and now I'm switching. It's the same for me when I think people are expecting this from me, but now I'm switching. But in the end, I think people will resonate because it's just you and your creation.
There will be always some people that maybe don't like it, but then new people coming that like you for the new style. I was having this quite heavy in my life with this techno. I just fall into techno. I was making dubstep, but no one was ready for this breaks. Like no one could understand breaky music. It was my techno was starting with like dum 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 and now everyone plays this. So I'm like kind of I don't know. I felt like I was too early, So then I shifted to more techno, but I remember I felt like I needed to teach myself techno first. I remember that like one friend of mine that lived with me, who showed me Mike Parker, and I was like, "Whoa, this is sound design. This is sick." And then I scrambled a little bit into techno again without knowing it, and just starting to produce it also without knowing it. It was kind of natural, but I also a little bit forced because I know that this is also running better, like in my environment right now. So I should just do my version of that. I would be smart. But then I started loving it so much, and that was actually a good thing. But before I was like, I'm a dubstepper, fuck techno, So like, sometimes you limitate yourself quite a lot because of what people think. And that's actually unhealthy as fuck.
Yeah. Oh, that's true. I think also you should get rid of this. Also, it's not very, very easy to do that because, I mean, it's just something I think that is quite natural, that you always, as an artist who puts his or her work out there, you're always thinking, who will resonate with this, or how will people think about it? I think it's naturally part of the process, but ultimately I think sometimes can lead to worse results because you force yourself into doing something that you actually not feel to do, or that you would rather do something else. So I think that's always important to let it flow naturally, but it's, as you said, sometimes not that easy.
It's not that easy. I did something to get there that was actually helping me a lot to make it easy now. I was playing guitar when I started with making music, right? And there was many years where I put the guitar away, right? Because of Ableton and all this techno and all this stuff. And then there was this time where I felt like this, for the first time, really heavy, like I need to put emotions out, so I need some other medium. So I just took the guitar and recorded with this mic, actually, just for fun. And then also the electronic guitar, and then actually, hey, I can build my band now because I know how Ableton works. So I did this, and then I did this album, my first album actually. Like people ask me for albums, and I was always like, nah, I do EPs. Like, I don't know, album is something you have to feel. But I noticed in this moment when I start making some of these tracks, I was like, that's an album. That's actually a thing you can do. You do an album, and this is completely something else that you ever did in your life. And because of this, it will be like this album, I didn't make any promo. I didn't put it anywhere. I just have it on Bandcamp. And my friend Gigi was like putting it on NTS radio as like the full thing just through for her show. Because she was emotional, touched by it, and here with me sometimes when I showed her some demos and what I'm doing. And she was like, I want this on my show. So that was the only promo that came naturally. So I was like, nah, the rest, I don't want to put this anywhere. I don't care. This is for me. Mm-hmm. And with this, you can make this clear message. Between all my techno stuff on Bandcamp, there's on some point Close the Circle. That's the album. Yep. And there's just guitar tracks. It's like ambient, and then a little bit like Massive Attack, Radiohead vibes from my beginning, So it's like kind of on grungy also. It's like a little bit, you can hear the Nirvana influences, I think. And it's just this, the drums are just drum loops that I found and scrambled up how I wanted, just that I can jam on something, and compose, thank you. Just compose that stuff, a little bit more like a classic Radiohead track or something. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I'm actually in this moment, there's like a long time now, I have like the next EP with Techno. In this moment, I'm literally back to working on a new album. I think I feel it coming.
Awesome. That is great. That's really good. And I think that's something that you said there important is kind of like you have to really feel it and you have to be into it. And in that moment, you know that it's the right thing to do. And I think this is also sometimes coming down to what we are doing as creators and artists at the same time. And what you mentioned before, something I struggle as well with a lot, is to remind yourself that actually sometimes it is important to just make music for the sense of making music and without any thought and any goal in your head. And this is something actually the last couple of weeks I've also been reflecting about and seeing like how the past months I've been very productive, but also I've never really done music without an intention, just for myself, just for letting creativity do its thing and just without kind of like a set path, because I was getting to the machines into Ableton saying, I want to make a melodic house track, or I was getting to the machines saying, I want to do some music that I can then use in a tutorial that I want to record. And I think that is something that if you don't pay attention to it can get lost, that you stop making music just for yourself and just for your own good feeling, and then just when you did the music, then you just let it sit, put it away. It was just maybe meant to be in the moment. Maybe you'll pick it up later. But when you start doing it, there was no real intention behind it. And I found I lost this a little bit. And now the last couple of weeks, I actually Diet, what we have been talking about in the last episode, this fantastic tool. This brought it back actually a little bit. I was just taking my my Push standalone, sitting in my living room with headphones and then just making music with it in all different styles. Actually, I have one track made completely ambient, then one is kind of like a little bit dark and doomy, a little bit faster, and then one is completely hypnotic techno, but also where the kick drum and the snare and the hi-hats, everything was made with Diet, because I wanted to really see how far you can actually push this thing and how much you can get out of it. I even created a rumble bass with Diet, which actually worked quite nicely.
I did that also. I did one video on it, and on that video I also started to make kicks with it and realizing, you can literally do everything with it. That's crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy how versatile it is. But that was really the moment where I felt, okay, I'm now starting to feel this again, and I'm not sure where it takes me. Maybe it will become an album or an EP, or maybe just a single release, who knows. But for the moment, it doesn't really matter, because it was just for me feeling right just to sit down and make some music. So that's I think important. A very, very good reminder.
That's important. I think that's also like for the question of the show, kind of, I think that's really important that you just allow yourself doing that to figure out if you want to make a different genre.
Yeah.
Right? Because if you're fixed to one thing and you love it, why you should do something else, right? But
totally true.
I know that every artist that do hip hop or techno, they also do techno or hip hop, or whatever. Like I make hip hop, I make this guitar stuff, I do the ambient part, I do techno, there is dubstep, bass music, UK stuff, garage, drum and bass, jungle, like whatever you want to do. Like I love internet and the music genre of all the internet world, like, so there's have to be jungle.
Mm-hmm.
I'm losing my light here, let me go and do something against this.
Now you are enlightened.
Ta-da!
Nice. No, but what you're saying is super true, and I love to experiment with genres as well. But then it comes back to the question, like, will it still be me? But I think it comes back to what you just said: is you probably have to try it out, and if you do it and if you feel it, then I think probably it's you. And if you don't feel it, then it's not you.
The thing is, if you want to nail it a bit more down, if like I don't feel it, I don't know what you mean with that. It is a thing that you're obsessed in audio with. For me personally, it was like the sound design of how to get it like sounding so HD. I always say, I don't know. Mm-hmm. I think it's contrast between 10K highs and low end. So dubstep was of course in that area because they have and then and it's like a nice contrast. So my brain loves contrast, I think. So when I make music, I have contrast in my music. So this sub bass in my ambient is just like 50 hertz, nice envelope, that's it. All 4 bars, maybe less, whatever, you know? And then you have all this noise and stuff that I cut completely in the bass. So it's just completely in contrast. And this I do with my techno too. So I would say you will have in the details of what you do with your music the same way you're doing it when you do different music, but finding other things you like by doing it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, makes completely sense. For me, it's the same because one thing I definitely realized for me, I love Moogs. I love the sound of Moog synthesizers,
Me
like
too.
my Sub 25 and the Mother 32 that I have, and I used actually both of them in some recent music I did. And there was also something when I worked on a track with a collective from Stuttgart and Leipzig in Germany, and we made a track together. And then the track was completely arranged and composed in Ableton, and then we had the final track, which will be released very soon. And then I thought, I could do a jam for this track just on my YouTube channel, just play it live and see how it works. And then in the beginning, because the track has some coastal, like ocean scene in it, I put actually my Mother 32 through a reverb, like a very, very long one, and then put in some noise, and then just opened and closed the filter, and also put an LFO on it.
You got the scene.
And then it sounds like an ocean, like really like the movement of an ocean, the waves.
And then filter.
Exactly. Yeah, perfect. And then I played the Moog, the Sub 25, also on top of it with some very deep bass. And then I thought, I could actually turn this into an ambient track. I left it for now for kind of like an intro and an outro as an ambient part. But maybe I will just compose an ambient version of this because I just liked it so much just to play with these two instruments, hit record in Ableton, and then just let it run and start to experiment, bring some elements in, bring them back down. Due to this long reverb tail, you can get very experimental in what elements you bring in. Also change the waveforms on the Mother 32. Really, then if you go to the what is it again? The square wave, then change kind of like the pulse width, and just this way create some very, very different sounds, and just it keeps evolving naturally as a track. And I was really feeling it, so maybe I'll just do an ambient session on it, although it was completely not the intent to do it.
No, but it's amazing because I can imagine with all your Moog sounds that you also have, they're so nice for like this ambient bass lines. I think I can hear a sound that you could do is like Pete Nemlock. He did stuff with Richie Houghton together also.
Oh, okay. Then I need to check it.
Yeah, check that out. Pete Nemlock is like, I don't know, I think he died already, but he's a mastermind of ambient for me with a different vibe. Like I like much more this like futuristic stuff now. Astral Industries is something I really like. It is having really nice textures in the front and then drones in the back. But this stuff is having a little bit more this like synthesizer Moog sounds. I think you would like it. Yeah.
Okay, cool. No, I definitely need to check that out.
Yeah, that could be a nice inspiration.
Yeah, cool. Well, yeah, I think maybe this one is a little bit of a shorter one. I think we can wrap it up here. My takeaway from this episode definitely is go by the feels, see where your feelings carry you. Don't narrow yourself down by any genre that you do. Just be open to influences from somewhere else, and then just see where the music takes you, and not try to take the music and force it to go somewhere, because I think it should be the other way around.
Yes, totally. If you do electronic music or something, there's always some ambient inside, so you can always start with some ambient. You just let the drums away for a moment and see where you can go and what you can like. It's a good start point. Ambient music is, I think, the modern classic, so it is also like gives you much more. Like there's here in Berlin, there's like a really new sub-scene now with this like listening bars where they have inspired by Tokyo, I think, but like much more on the side that the lighting is like here, and you just have everything ground floor-ish, like people are just chilling on like carpets and stuff, and it's really cozy, and there's a DJ playing ambient, and you have a bar.
Cool.
But they cannot smoke inside, and it's much more on like, like more on the healthy side of going out. Like in Berlin bars, they all smoke all the time, and then you have the clubs where everyone's smoking too, and there's like this need for this opposite side. And I think music that gives a little bit more away from the dance world sometimes feels like this is not your audience. Totally do it. There's so many sub scenes coming right now for more calm music.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Very interesting that you mentioned that, because in Cologne I've recently seen that there was a bookstore and they were doing a reading ambient session. So basically They invited an ambient musician, and then people could just come, read books, and then this musician was just playing music. And I just read about it. I couldn't go unfortunately, but I really love the idea.
This idea is amazing. This is the scene. This is the scene that I've seen coming here a lot. There's so many events. I was on our last event, also with my friend Gigi. She invited me. She was playing there. She was doing a half poem, all her poems, with like a voice machine, a little bit like extra chance, and then like her productions, but in DJ.
Cool.
And it was so nice, and that was all night long. Just really good DJs putting really nice tracks together, really calm, playing there, everything ground floor, and everyone have like beds. It was so nice. And one bed where I was on it have a subwoofer under it. So it was just like, it was so nice. And it's so cool because you're like with 20 people in one room, but no one is talking. Everyone is just like chilling and taking a moment of silence. You know, it's crazy. And then you can go outside and have a little drink and talk to some people. I love this event. I literally investing into this now with my music. Because I want to, play on more places like this.
That's really cool. Yeah. Two more ambient places.
Yeah, for the ambient.
For the ambient community. Yeah, that was a great conversation. Thank you so much, my friend. And
always a pleasure.
Yeah, I'm already looking forward to what the next episode will hold for us.
Yeah. Also the videos that goes in the channels, let us know. Maybe if you have ideas, what we should talk about it, right?
Absolutely. We're always open. We're kind of like trying to keep it very spontaneous with this format, because it should be, of course, topics that we're both interested in and want to kind of like talk about and do a little bit of music philosophy about. But yeah, if you have any recommendations, absolutely, let us please know, and we would be happy to include that.
Absolutely. Okay.
Cool.
Nice talk.
Perfect.
Do some ambient, please. I'm really interested, and send me stuff.
I will. You too. I'm really looking forward. And yeah, keep it ambient. And
see you next week.